Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Allie's Book Nook. If you're new here, my name is Allison, and today I'm going to share with you all of the books that I acquired for the month of July 2025. So this month I actually did a lot better than I have the last couple months. And the last couple months I've been getting like 30 books, something like that. And so I was trying to be good this month. And I personally only acquired 13, which is still a lot, but it's a big drop. But then the last day of the month, my neighbor gave me another 13. So yeah, I think I have like 26 books here or so, and I'm going to share them with you. We'll start with the ones that I picked out. So the first book is Red Dragon, and this is by Thomas Harris. So this is part of the series, I guess you would call it, for the Hannibal Lecter books. So Silence of the Lambs, all that. My friend has been recommending this to me for years. She's read all of them. And I have Silence of the Lambs, but I've never read it, and I've never seen the movie. And the whole movie, I should say. And she said, you really need to start with Red Dragon. So I picked this up at my used bookstore for $4. And now I need to get this on my Libby Holds in audio so I can start on that series. Okay, so during that trip to the used bookstore, I got 3 other books. And the first one is Ghostwritten by Ronald Malfi. And I'm currently reading this one, and I'm almost done with it. And I am thoroughly enjoying this book. This is 4 novellas, and they're all kind of in the same universe. So I got this at my used bookstore for $8. And this is a horror book. Actually, all 4 of these were in the horror section. I guess I was just in a mood. But it's been a really long time since I have read novellas. Usually I don't like shorter stories as much, but these are great. So they all have to do with books. So I'm going to read you guys the premise of these stories because they're each like one sentence. So the first book is called, or the first story is called The Skin of Her Teeth. A cursed novel drives people to their deaths in the skin of her teeth. The Dark Brothers' Last Ride, a delivery job turns deadly. This book belongs to Olo, sees a child wielding dangerous control over an unusual pop-up book. And then in the story, a choose-your-own adventure game spirals into uncanny reality. So I've read the first 3, and I'm on the last one. I'm not going to get into my reviews on it till next month, but the third one was my favorite so far. I mean, the second one, the Dark Brothers' Last Ride, and I'm really, really enjoying this. And this is my second Ronald Malfi book. One of my viewers recommended him to me on this channel, so thank you very much. And I plan on reading more this month. My next book I got also on that same trip to the horror section of my used bookstore is Heart-Shaped Box. And this is by Joe Hill. He's Stephen King's son. And I have read one of his books before, Nas 4A2, which I really enjoyed. And so I wanted to pick up a couple more of his books. This is actually his debut novel, and it won the Bram Stoker Award, which is very impressive for a debut novel. But it's basically about this guy that is a collector of weird random things, kind of dark, macabre things, and he ends up getting this heart-shaped box that has a spirit that's out for personal vendetta on him. So that one sounded good, and it was $5. And then the other Joe Hill book, I debated if I wanted to get it because it was $10, but it sounded really good. So I went ahead and got it, and this is The Fireman. So this is kind of a post-apocalyptic story where it sounds like there's a disease that ravishes a lot of society, and this guy comes through town, this bad dude. He's the fireman, they call him. I don't know if he's supernatural, I don't know. Known as a fireman, he strolls the ruins of New Hampshire, a madman afflicted with dragon scale, which is a disease, who has learned to control the fire within himself, using it as a shield to protect the hunted and as a weapon to avenge the wrong. So maybe he's not a bad guy. Maybe he is the hero of this book. I haven't read it, but it is a bit of a commitment here, 750 pages, but I think it sounds really good. The other book I want to read this month is Night Parade, also by Ronald Malfi, and that's kind of a post-apocalyptic book too, but not in this pile here. I've had it. Next one, I picked this up at Goodwill, Beautiful Lies. I paid $2.50 for it, but you can see in 2011 Walmart was selling it for $5.97. This is by Lisa Unger, and I've never read any of Lisa Unger, but I've heard she has some good stuff out there, so thought I'd give that a whirl. I also got another Lisa Unger book, that same Goodwill haul, and this is called Last Girl Ghosted. Again, $2.50 at Goodwill. And this is says an online dating match turns into a deadly cat and mouse game in this dark and riveting thriller. Think twice before you swipe. So I'm not going to get into too much of the premise of these. Next book is called Little Mercies by Heather Gutenkopf. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but she wrote the book called The Overnight Guest, which I haven't read any of her books, but I heard that one was good. So I wanted to pick this one up. It says one small mistake can have life-altering consequences. And yeah, so that looks good. This book I have heard really good things about. This is called The Quiet Tenant. And this is written by, how do you say her name? I'm not sure how you say it. Clemence McCollin. I'm probably butchering that. This is her debut novel. And so this is about a guy that seems like a normal guy. He's got a daughter. They rent a house, but he has a woman locked up in his basement. Something happens and they have to move. And so, yeah. It sounds like a pretty good book. Kind of reminded me a little bit, reading the back of it, of the book Room, if you've read that book or watched the movie. This is says it's a gripping psychological suspense novel. A riveting tale shows a killer through the eyes of the women in his life, who probably see him in very different lights. The next one I've also heard really good things about, and this is The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. So, this is about these authors go on this writing retreat. They have this opportunity to go on this writing retreat hosted by an esteemed horror novelist, who she tells them, okay, you have 30 days. Once they get there, you have 30 days to write a complete novel. And from scratch by the month's end. The author of the best one will receive a life-changing publishing deal. And then some sinister things start to happen. So this next one I was really excited to find. Okay, that was also Goodwill. This next one was same Goodwill haul. Really excited to find this, and this is Pines by Blake Crouch. One of my favorite authors as of late. Sci-fi, somewhat dystopian. I think this series might fall more into horror. In fact, I saw this book at my used bookstore in the horror section. But this is a first in, I believe it's a trilogy called the Wayward Pines series. And they did make it into a show, maybe on FX. I haven't seen it, but Wayward Pines, Idaho is a quintessential small town. There's a Secret Service agent that went missing there. So another agent goes there to look for him. And he ends up having a violent accident where he ends up in the hospital. And when he wakes up, he has no ID, no cell phone, and just something feels off. And so he starts investigating his colleague's disappearance. And it says it turns up more questions than answers. So I think this is like, you know, something's not right. It kind of sounds like maybe a Twilight Zone, X-Files, Black Mirror kind of situation. Sounds really good. And reading this, it doesn't say that it was like part of a trilogy, but I know it is. So maybe it wasn't at first initially intended as a trilogy. I don't know, but this was written in 2012. So I've heard great things about that series, and I can't wait to dive in. I did get one other Blake Crouch book this month at a different used bookstore for $6.99, and it's Upgrade. And so this is definitely more sci-fi, I would say, where that one could be more horror, kind of dystopian. This is more sci-fi, and it says you are the next step in human evolution. So someone's genome gets hacked. Intricately plotted, lightning-fast tale that charts one man's thrilling transformation, even as it asks to ponder the limits of our humanity and our boundless potential. So if you watched my What I've Been Reading for July video, you know that I just read a pretty hard sci-fi book, The Dark Forest. So after reading that, I think I want a little bit of a break from sci-fi. I probably won't be reading this too soon. I'll probably read Pines before I read this one, but I love Blake Crouch. His sci-fi stuff, it's like anyone can comprehend it, so I'm excited for that. And then 2 books I got at Little Free Library. There's a new Little Free Library in my town. Really excited, and the books in there were like really great shape. Kids books and adult books. So I got 2 books from there. The first one is called The Paleontologist. I did see this at my bookstore in the thriller mystery section, but it says a haunted paleontologist returns to the museum where his sister was abducted years earlier and is faced with a terrifying and murderous spirit in this chilling novel. So, haunted museum, that sounds kind of cool. I don't know if it's like Night at the Museum vibes or what, but oh, it says right here on the front, The Paleontologist is Night at the Museum as reimagined by Michael Crichton and Stephen King. Ooh, that sounds good. And that was a quote by A.J. Finn. So, yeah. And then the next book, this sounds kind of like a sci-fi book. I've never heard of it, but it's called Rosewater. And so, one of science fiction's most engaging new voices. So it's about a town around the edges of a mysterious biodome. Its residents comprise of the hopeful, hungry, and helpless, people eager for a glimpse inside the dome or a taste of its rumored healing powers. And then there's a government agency with a criminal past. A government agent with a criminal past. Can he navigate the massive psychic space created by the dome? When something within the dome begins killing off other sensitivities, he must defy his masters to avert a horrifying future. So that sounds kind of interesting. Yeah, again, I don't know if I'm going to read this right away. But I think right now I'm kind of like in a horror vibe. I love thrillers. Thrillers are my favorite genre, but right now I'm kind of in horror phase, so it might be a little while before I read that one. But that sounds like it could venture into that category as well. So now let's talk about, those were the 13 books that I picked out. Let's talk about briefly the 13 books that my neighbor gave me. That was so nice. So most of them are Outlander books. If you guys have read the Outlander series, and I have a lot of these, all of them I think except one. So I am going to, all the ones that she gave me that I already have, I'm going to donate to Little Free Libraries. I am doing this thing this year. My birthday's in a couple months. I'll be 40. I'm calling it 40 for 40. And I'm going to spend that week visiting 40 Little Free Libraries in my area. So I've been collecting books to donate to them for that little adventure I'm going to be going on. And any of these that I don't want, she said that I could donate them to the Little Free Libraries. So, like I said, a lot of Outlander books. Here's a box set of the first 4. I think there's 9 published right now and a 10th on the way. So this is kind of cool because it has the movie or the TV series picture here, but it doesn't, I don't think it has it on the books, which is good. Yeah. So it just says something about being on Stars. I actually have all 4 of these. This one I have in a larger print, so I'm probably going to switch it out. So all mine are the same size. And if any of these are in better shape than mine, I might switch them out. But yeah, I have read five and a half of these, and then I DNF'd the sixth one. Haven't been back to it, but I think I might have to go revisit it at some point now that I have all these. The first one was really good. The third one was really good. But sometimes I just think this author needs an editor. Like, she just goes on and on and on, and it gets really drawn out. So sometimes the pacing doesn't work for me, but yeah, I got 4 of those. Outlander is about a gal from the 40s that accidentally travels back in time to Scotland in the 1700s, and she falls in love with a badass guy named Jamie. So, pretty popular series. So I got those 4, and then the 5th one is A Fiery Cross. This is the one where I said this woman needs an editor, because there's like a scene in here where it's like 250 pages at the same scene, and I was just like, ugh. That was before I was like really into audio, and so I was just reading them. This is the next one that I DNF'd it at one point. I might go back and revisit it and pick up the series now that I have more of them. A Breath of Snow and Ashes. And then the 2 that I don't have that I am going to add to my collection for now is An Echo in the Bone. And these are by Diana Gabaldon. I didn't say that. And then Written in My Own Heart's Blood. She did have Go Tell the Bees That I'm Gone, but our local used bookstore did take that one in for trade for her. These ones I didn't take, and I think it's just because I have a lot of Outlander books. Okay, so some of these are not my style necessarily, but whatever. So this next one is not something that I think I'm going to read. I'm not a big nonfiction book. If I do read nonfiction, I like to read like about real people's stories. I don't like self-help books or stuff like that, because I like to read as a way to escape reality, not to have to like think too much, which that's kind of an ignorant thing to say. I've read one self-help book this year and it was good. But anyway, this looks like a self-help book. Thinking Strategically, The Competitive Edge in Business, Politics, and Everyday Life by Anavik K. Dixit and Barry J. Nebloff. I've never heard of this one. It says it's an international bestseller. Probably going to donate that to a Little Free Library. Next one, similar situation, probably a no-go for me. Neurotribes, The Legacy of Autism and the Future of Neurodiversity by Steve Symbolism. So that's a pretty big book too. The next one, same thing. The Good Life, Lessons from the World's Longest Scientific Study of Happiness. That could be interesting. Create a More Meaningful and Satisfying Life. Robert Wahlberger, MD, and Mark Schultz, PhD. Yeah. Okay, and then one more. Oh, am I missing one in here? I'm going to have to ask her. She gave me a book by John Krakauer, I think is how you say his name. And it is based on true story of, I think it's an LDS commune, and there was like murders that took place there, I think in the 80s. And so I don't have that here. I must have left it on her kitchen table, but I'm definitely going to ask her about that, because that one sounds really good. And then this one is a nonfiction one that sounded pretty good actually too. I Am Malala, the girl who stood up for education and was shot by the Taliban. That could be good. My neighbor is super smart, and so she reads books that are maybe outside of my wheelhouse sometimes, but very good for you in terms of personal growth. And then the last book she gave me, I am going to donate this because I already have it in paperback, and it's Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This was a good book. Not my favorite, but pretty dang good. I think I gave it 4 stars last year when I read it, and the movie follows it pretty closely too. So the movie is on Netflix, or at least it was. So yeah, those are the books that she gave me. And like I said, I know I'm missing that one, but I am going to be hitting her up about that. And it's just so nice when people know that one reader to another, they know that you enjoy books, so they're going to let you get in on that enjoyment of reading that they had with the experience of these books. That's pretty cool. So yeah, those are all the books that I got for July, and I really need to start working through them. My husband said I should read 4 books for every 1 book that I acquire, and I mean, that's a reasonable ask, but it's something that I still need to work towards. I'm not going to go out of my way in August to go book shopping, but if I see some when I'm out and about that are on my TBR or something, I'm not going to pass them up if they're a good price. And I have 2 already coming in the mail that I technically did order in July, but they're just not here yet. So I'll talk about those next month. Another Ronald Malfi and These Silent Woods. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what your thoughts are on them, if any of them look interesting. If you like this content, please consider subscribing, giving me a thumbs up, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.